Hello, I'm Robert Knowles.
And I'm Richard Simpson.
And today we're going to cover Benito Mussolini. But not El Duce just yet. First, we're going to talk about the man before he was the dictator. Richard?
Mussolini was born in the province of Forli, Romagna, in Italy. During the fascist era, the Dovia di Predappio, the town that he was born in, was called Duce's town, and Forli was Duce's city. But on 29 July 1883, it wasn't El Duce. He was born to Alessandro and Rosa Maltoni Mussolini. Alessandro was a blacksmith and a socialist. His mother, Rosa, was a devout Catholic school teacher. Benito himself was named after Benito Juarez, Mexican president, because of his socialist father's views. Mussolini wasn't baptized because of his parents' arguments of religion. Father being atheist, mother being Catholic. He was not baptized until much later in life, though he did go to a boarding school run by monks. He achieved good grades and was qualified as a education elementary schoolmaster in 1901. However, in 1902, he decided he was going to flee to Switzerland to avoid compulsory military service. He became a stonemason in Geneva, Freiburg, and Bern, but was never able to hold a permanent job. This is when he got into the philosophy of Nietzsche, the study of sociology, the study of beliefs, the study of socialism. In 1903, he was arrested by Bernese police for violent general strike. His advocacy of such was sent back to Italy, came back to Switzerland, and was arrested in Geneva for falsifying papers. In the same year, he ended up in the University of Lausanne in Switzerland in the Department of Social Science. In December 1904, taking advantage of amnesty for those who desert the army, he went back to Italy, served 2 years in the Italian military from January 1905 to September 1906, and then returned to teaching.
In February 1909, Mussolini, again being back in Italy, took a job as Secretary of Labor Party in the Italian-speaking city of Trento in Austria-Hungary. There, he would dabble in editing papers, and this would play a good part of his life, and he'd start really showing his socialism support. However, as the years and political leanings would go, the socialists started to split. As war started, as the drums of war began to beat, the party seemed to have a little bit of a divide. On one hand, part of the socialists were very pro-war. Mussolini's faction, on the other hand, were very pro-neutral. And at the very beginning, his writings would call for Italy to be neutral. His outward speaking and talking against the party would then get him booted from the Socialist Party and the paper that he was currently writing for, only for Mussolini to form his own party and his own paper. This paper would later be told to be supported by the British and the French. And he would push slowly but surely for Italy to enter the war, but not on the Central Powers side, but on the British and the French side. And when war finally came, his papers were later thanked and held up as a great tribute to Italy and a great service to the British Empire. During the war, Mussolini would be first denied access to the Italian military. Then he'd be called up and he would serve with distinction, earning him a corporal's rank until, like another leader that was fighting in the trenches, he'd be injured and sent home. It's kind of interesting if we just take a pause here for a second and think of how ironic that is. That later on, two leaders of European powers were both corporals and both injured in the Great War, and would be seen to be taking the banner of those soldiers disillusioned by war and injured by war, and to be seen taking the side of the average Joe and the average soldier. Back to you, Richard.
When Mussolini returned home from hospital from his injuries in World War I, his socialist ideas were gone. He had decided during the war that socialism as a doctrine was a failure, that socialism was dead. Mussolini got his start in politics with a 100-pound job with MI5. He got 100 pounds a week. And all he was to do was to keep anti-war protesters at home and publish pro-war propaganda. In 1918, Mussolini called for the emergence of a man ruthless and energetic enough to make a clean sweep to revive Italy. 1919, in March, he reformed the Milano Fascio as the Fasci Italiani di Combattimento, or the Italian Combat Squad, consisting of 200 members. This group would become the Fascist Party, and they would push for their ideas. In 1919, pushing their ideas. In 1920, pushing their ideas for a greater Italy, for a strong Italy, free of socialists, free of communists. And it would all come to a head in October of 1922.
Between 27 and 28 October 1922, 30,000 fascist black shirts marched upon Rome, and they demand of the king that he hand over the government and prime ministership to Mussolini. Mussolini, conveniently, wasn't at the front lines. He was back in Milan. Because if this had gone south, he was ready to go back to Switzerland. However, the putsch was successful. And in misguided thoughts of preventing a civil war, the king granted Mussolini prime ministership of Italy, not realizing the dictator that he had just given power to. This will wrap up our coverage of Mussolini at the beginning years. Next week, we will cover Mussolini completing his takeover of Italy, becoming El Duce, and also we will cover how he was responsible for creating a little city known as Vatican City. I've been Robert Knowles.
And I'm Richard Simpson. Thank you, and good night.
Richard and I would like to thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Until we meet again, another point in history. Have a good day.